Hey everybody, welcome to Wednesday Night Live. We're at Siskiyou Vitamin Medicine in Medford, and I'm with Ron Veitel, and I'm Dr. Duncan, and we are here, and we're back. It's been a while since I've been on WNL.
Yeah, you had a little break.
You've been doing some interviews, some really good interviews. I really appreciate all that. It's been super exciting to learn about all the practitioners and different modalities and services that we offer here at Siskiyou. We're a direct primary care clinic here in Medford, Oregon, which means that our members pay a monthly membership fee to gain unrestricted access to our services. Please check out our website, www.siskiyouvitalmedicine.com, to learn more. So tonight we are in the shower sauna room. I kind of wanted to showcase the sauna behind us. You can see the beautiful wood trim. There you go, everybody. Check it out. So we're gonna talk a little bit about detox, right?
Yes.
So I think we're getting a little bit of a head start on this, but we're coming into spring soon. At least we're hoping to all come into spring. We just got a bunch of snow, and I'm kind of looking forward to warm weather already and a little bit more sunshine. I've actually noticed the sun coming up a little bit earlier in the mornings, so I'm really excited about that.
And not too far away, we're going to spring forward.
We are going to spring forward, which I wish they would just leave that alone.
I know.
Have you ever thought that?
I have. You know, it's kind of, when I heard a saying once, it's like cutting a foot off a blanket, sewing it onto the top, back onto the top, and thinking you gained a foot.
But your feet are cold. You know, just leave it alone. Let's just leave it like Arizona, right?
Yes,
let's be like Arizona. So yeah, we're kind of moving in that direction. I get a lot of questions all the time about detoxification. If we do detox programs here at Siskiyou, and the answer is yes, we do detox programs. We have a sauna, we have a shower. So if you want to come in and start some program with us, you can either schedule a visit with Dr. Neil, myself, or Ron, and we can get you started on that. We have a little detoxification program coming up in April, and we will give you some more details on that as it develops. But there's a lot in store, so a big surprise. So I'm really excited about that.
I'm super stoked about that.
It's going to be cool.
Yes.
So again, you know, we're in the shower sauna room. We have the fan buzzing. So if you guys are hearing anything or it's bothering you, please let us know. Just put it in the comments so that way we know next time. Maybe hold it someplace different. So
you know.
Yes. No, I don't know. Tell me.
Well, you know what? The first thing I was going to start off with is, you know, a lot of times, you know, detoxification is a buzzword out there right now.
Totally.
And I mean, you go to a health food store, you're into their supplement section, you see a ton of detoxification products. And as spring hits, there's going to be a lot more marketed out there.
Right.
But, you know, I'm wondering if a lot of people actually really understand what detoxification really is.
That is a great question.
Yeah.
What is detoxification?
What is detoxification? Well,
what are toxins?
I think that might even be a better
Let's
place.
talk about that. Let's talk about what toxins are, what you might be exposed to.
What do we need to detox? Why do we need to detox these things?
I think that's a great question. I think that's exactly where you start.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I think about toxins, I think that we have there's two forms of toxins as far as categories are concerned, and that would be endogenous or internally produced toxins, and exogenous, which come in through the environment. So some of the endogenous toxins might be
Last night's pizza.
Last night, oh, there you go. Last
Right?
night's beer and pizza.
Yeah.
The metabolites from those foods could be toxins in your system.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think of maybe toxins that are produced in a dysbiotic gut.
Totally.
Right?
That's a big deal.
That's
Yep.
a major deal because that can feed right up the chain to the liver and impair liver detoxification, which is the major organ for detoxification.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well, how about you?
You could have toxins that are released through a chronic inflammatory process.
Absolutely.
Right? So if I'm chronically inflamed, I'm going to have these cytokines, and I'm going to have cell metabolites that are not. They're going to be released into the system all the time and taxing the system. So it's helpful to move the body through that experience. Someone that has a medication that they're on, or a treatment program that is toxic. So cancer care is quite toxic a lot of the times.
Radiation, chemotherapy can be.
Right, right. A lot of that. So and that kind of like goes on to, or sort of blurs the line between endogenous and exogenous, right? But if you have some, like I said, some inflammatory process, some illness, a lot of people have been coming in with the flu or the cold, and there are a lot of toxins to clean up from viruses and bacteria. You mentioned the gut, molds. I mean, there are quite a few things in our lives that would classify as toxins that really slow the cell down, make the body a little sluggish, diminish the person's sense of wellness. You know, brain fog might be one of those symptoms of needing to detox, or just poor healing processes in the body. Not feeling optimal.
Yeah, lethargy, fatigue, I think of halitosis, chronic bad breath.
Yeah.
An inability to concentrate, so ADD, ADHD-like symptoms could be a result of toxins. And some of these, actually, some exogenous toxins, or toxins that come in from the environment, like synthetic food additives, food dyes, food colors, preservatives,
Pesticides,
herbicides, absolutely. Xenobiotics from industrial compounds, industrial chemicals.
Oh man, I'm getting scared to go outside.
I know, right? We're bombarded all the time, right? And these can leave us with a variety of issues. But the good thing is that we have this incredible capacity to remove things that build up in our system. And
so we've had this discussion many times here in the clinic. You know, we like to talk about nerdy things all the time. But one thing that you said to me one time I thought was clever, that you talked about the liver, and you called the liver the lifer.
I did.
Can you expand upon that a little bit more? Because I think that's brilliant to call the liver the lifer.
The lifer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, so the liver, first off, the liver has an incredible capacity to regenerate. You can actually cut off a third of the liver and the liver will regenerate.
Isn't that wild?
So that's a phenomenal thing. The other thing that why I call the liver the lifer is it's because that's the area when nutrients come across the digestive tract through the villi into the digestive capillaries. The nutrients, amino acids, glucose molecules, get shuttled through the hepatic portal vein, which is just a fancy way of saying the liver portal vein. Just so you know, I just find this fascinating. A portal is technically defined as a gateway to something sacred or holy. So the liver is the organ where these individual amino acids and glucose molecules come in, and they start to be re-enlivened with your own forces. So the liver is what kind of takes these nutrients that were external to you, they're now in you, and it makes it you. So the liver brings these things to life.
Right.
That's why I call
So when I
it
eat chicken, I'm not chicken.
Exactly. So that when you eat chicken, by the time the amino acids that make up the protein in chicken cross the digestive tract into your bloodstream, there's no chicken left.
At least there shouldn't be.
There
chicken.
shouldn't
if
be
there's
any
chicken in
left.
there, you better come talk to us. Right?
Well, that could be leaky gut.
That could be leaky gut, right? That's one of those things when we do food sensitivities. If we see a variety of things, a litany of items that are really offending the immune system, then we can say with some confidence that someone has permeable bowel, if you're into the scientific leaky gut term. So yeah, you should be taking that and breaking it down completely and making it human. So that's perfect.
And sometimes the digestive system doesn't work so well.
Yes.
Right.
And you say when you eat something, you eat yourself sick and digest yourself well, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's a very controversial statement.
No, I think that's fabulous.
Yes.
I like a little controversy, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
means if you're not getting flack, you're not over the target area.
That's
right.
right.
Receiving flack.
That's right.
The other thing that you like to say a lot is when we digest, we don't typically think of digestion because there's no problem. We're only cognizant of our digestive processes when there's an issue.
Exactly.
Right?
And for the most part, that's how health is in general. We're not really consciously aware of all of the health processes that are happening, or our, we might know that we feel good or whatnot, but usually it's under the radar until something goes wrong, and that's when it enters the consciousness.
Right, and that's when we start thinking of, man, this headache really sucks, or I'm feeling really tired, or I feel like I'm aging faster than I should be aging. I've gained weight and I can't lose it. Pretty much anything that comes to mind, achy joints, poor sex drive, no libido. These are all indications that maybe a detox is in order.
Absolutely. Because I thought, here's another analogy I like
Great.
to use.
I love analogies, especially Ron Veitel analogies. These are amazing.
Let's come out.
Yeah.
So you can look at the human organism like a rain barrel. If you know what a rain barrel is, rain pour. You have your spout, and as it rains, the barrel fills up, right? And when it fills up, it overflows if you get more rain, right? So it's not like there's a natural line going out. So the human organism is very similar when it comes to toxins.
Yeah.
That when we're exposed to exogenous or external toxins, they come into our system, usually stored in our fatty tissue, right? Right, which is why toxicity can cause weight gain. And
obesogens.
I like that.
Yes.
Is that a real term?
That's a real term, obesogen.
Wow, I like that. Okay, so now here's the deal. Because you're like a rain barrel, if the liver, which is your major organ for detoxification, which we never described what detoxification is, and that is the ability to eliminate toxins that are either from our own inner environment, endogenous or exogenous from the external environment. It's the liver's capacity to metabolize these things and run them out of the system through the main routes of elimination: the kidneys, the bowels, the skin, the breath. Right? So those are our major ways toxins leave the system. Right. Sweat, breathing, and then urination and bowel elimination. So because we're like a rain barrel, if we're not doing the detoxification process effectively, these toxins store up and store up and store up and store up and store up. And maybe one day you get an exposure too many to something, and you get this cascade of symptoms that spill over from the toxicity. And we could call this maybe, you could see this in cases like multiple chemical sensitivity, also known as sick building syndrome or environmental illness. And so we are like a rain barrel, and the toxins do store up, especially the environmental toxins that our liver doesn't have familiarity with. Because the vast majority of toxins that the liver has recognition of have come from nature, have come from plants for the most part. Right?
Absolutely.
So the liver, so we need to be caring for the liver and doing something to facilitate detoxification on a regular basis so that our rain barrel never gets totally full.
And basically that's really simple in that, one, avoiding exposures to these at least exogenous toxins is like the first step. Eating a whole foods, vegetable-based diet, eating healthy fats, exercising, sleeping, and connecting well interpersonally or having healthy interpersonal relationships is the basic foundation for detoxification, right? We all sort of have the liver and the skin, like Ron was saying, the liver, the skin, the lungs, and the bowels and the kidneys to help us detox. But there are things that we can do to sort of augment that and offset the amount of chemicals, the amount of exposures that we're having on a daily basis. Because I think we're exposed to tens of thousands of different compounds on a daily basis. So it's really important that we sort of take time and work through a detox program occasionally to support what's already going on a basal level, on a basic level.
Right. Talking about chemicals that we're exposed to, the last statistic I read was that there have been over 80,000 synthetic chemicals released into our environment since World War II. Think about that. 80,000 synthetic chemicals released into our environment. The other thing that to understand about this that makes this so dangerous is that chemicals, when tested for toxicity, are usually only tested alone. They're not tested when they're in combination with other chemicals, which could increase their toxicity by magnitudes.
Mm-hmm.
So
right. And then sometimes what happens is you'll have a chemical in the environment, the liver goes through phase 1 of detoxification, and it actually makes that compound even more toxic.
Right.
Because your body is trying to take things, make them water soluble, to expel in either through the kidneys or the bowels or through the skin. And so it's going to change the chemical structure of those compounds. And that change can oftentimes lead to making something even more carcinogenic or more toxic. So it's super important just to avoid, certain aisles in the grocery store, certain places in the hardware store. Avoid those products that are geared towards either killing bugs or killing plants, because those things are neurotoxic. They are toxic to the nervous system. They build up in the fat tissue, and they sort of attenuate or slow down liver detoxification. Like Ron was saying, it takes a little bit more time to get through that stuff. And then if you have a genetic variability that even slows your detox process down even more, then you're sort of at risk. And like you were talking about the rain barrel, at 5, 6, 10, 20 years old, you're not feeling those effects, but you hit 39, 45, 57, these older, as you get older, then the toxins have built up in the system, and now you've had this exposure, and it sort of cascades you over the edge. Now you have autoimmune conditions, or you have a rash that won't go away, or an icky joint, or this headache that just keeps going on. And so it's really important that the first step to detox is avoid exposure.
Yeah, that would be the most effective thing you could possibly do, is to avoid as many synthetic chemicals as you possibly can, and they're everywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're looking at our cosmetics. Most of your commercial cosmetics are full of synthetics. So go into your health food store and looking for natural deodorants, natural toothpaste, natural makeup and skincare lines, because the cosmetics are actually some of the more toxic products. And the reality is that anything you put on your skin, you're going to absorb 60% of. So we really want to make sure that you, one, minimize your exposure of anything synthetic.
So we just had a comment pop up, and this individual is asking, and I'm sure you guys online watching, let's see, is there a specific detox program that you suggest, or would that be dependent on what type of environment the individual is exposed to? I work in a manufacturing plant exposed to solvents and chemicals. Oh, wow. I think that's a great question. Yes. So I think, like I mentioned, the basics need to be met. So that means a healthy diet that's vegetable based. Fiber plays a huge role in doing just the daily detox. And so I like to think of the body as a detox machine. It sort of knows what to do.
Yes.
So a diet based in vegetables, healthy fats. So in the case of chemicals and solvents, I want to make sure that the fats coming into my body are not carrying an extra burden. And chemicals and solvents like to attach to fat molecules. So if you can't afford organic fats, or organic, at least eat organic fats, okay? So your organic butters, cheeses, yogurts, oils, those types of things.
Any type of fatty food should be organic.
Exactly, because we're going to take that fat and we're going to replace the other fat that we're going to burn off. The other is try to burn the fat off that you're accumulating. So that could be through an exercise program, that could be through a ketogenic diet, that could be using MCT oil, using the sauna to sweat. That's a really great way to get those toxins out of your fat cells and out of your glands, which are fatty tissue. But the other things that I might think about would be taking something like activated charcoal through a detox program. So we're developing a detox program that we're going to be launching in April, and that might be more geared towards something like your situation, where we are going to be eliminating some things for a little bit, and then using some products along the way to sort of mop up the body through that. And then we're going to be using the sauna and the shower to sort of flush those out of the system as best we can.
Right.
If you're at work around solvents, take a break. Think about doing something like digestive bitters on a daily basis, something with dandelion or milk thistle, and stimulate the liver to expel or excrete those toxins frequently, but follow those digestive bitters up with fiber. That'd be the easiest way to go about doing that on the daily detox.
Absolutely, and drink copious amounts of water, at least half your body weight in ounces of water, because the water is going to help move those toxins out. The kidneys eliminate a tremendous amount of toxins, and if you're not urinating enough, then that's not really a great thing. And you want to make sure that the bowels are moving also, because as Dr. Duncan was saying earlier, some toxins, when they go through phase 1, they become even more toxic, and as they try to get eliminated, sometimes they'll drop into the bowels, and some toxins go out through the bowels. And if you're constipated or you're not regular, and you're not eating enough fiber, as he just mentioned, which will absorb those toxins and run them out of the system, there is a high likelihood that those toxins can get reabsorbed through the digestive lining back into the body, and you'll just have to process them again. So making sure you're drinking plenty of water, making sure you're doing something like fiber, eating at least 30 grams of fiber a day is a standard nutritional recommendation for that.
You know, I looked that up, 30 grams of fiber. So, you know, I'm talking about fiber with patients who either have hormone imbalances or endocrine dysfunction or detoxification issues. 30 grams of fiber is quite a bit of fiber.
It's a lot of fiber.
How many cups of broccoli, right? It's quite a bit of broccoli. It's quite a, so I recommend, if you're struggling to get your 9 to 12 servings of vegetables a day, pick up a green powder. We carry a green powder. You can find green powders at your local grocery store, Natural Grocers, or a Health Food Mart, or or a health food store. The Co-op is usually a pretty good place to get stuff like that. But I like flaxseed, and I like hemp hearts, and I like chia seeds. So those are pretty easy things to add into a shake. Avocados are great. They have loads of fiber. So
fat.
And fat. Avocado is my favorite. Have I said that before? Yeah. Avocado is my favorite. I love avocados. So just basically increasing the fiber in your diet and staying hydrated is going to be the easy way to detox on the daily. Exercise is another great way to detox. I mean, you're going to release a lot of nitric oxide into the body. Nitric oxide is stored in the muscles and in the walls of the arteries. And so when you start exercising, the oxygen demand goes up, nitric oxide is released, and you start perfusing. The blood goes through the body and sort of delivers oxygen and new blood and nutrients, and it cleans you out. It pushes the blood in, and it kind of moves the lymph along. And so we're to get that lymph moving through, get that lymph to dump back into the liver and get that excreted. And then when you sweat through exercise and you breathe through exercise, you're actually detoxing a bunch of chemicals and toxins. So it's really good, and it's really important that you guys are exercising. I recommend, unless you're training for a triathlon, you don't need to do more than 10 to 15 minutes at your max, or your 85% of your max heart rate. If you want to know what your max heart rate is, just take your age and subtract that from 220. That'll give you your max heart rate, and then multiply that by 85%, and that is where you should be. So I think my ideal heart rate is around 157 beats per minute. So I'm going to keep my heart rate at 157 for about 10 to 15 minutes, and that way I'm going to release all the nitric oxide in my body. I'm going to get a nice sweat going. My heart's going to get a little bit of exercise. So that's kind of the best way to do it. You don't want to beat yourself up on a treadmill for hours.
No eccentric exercise, because eccentric exercise leads to more toxins. It's actually a source of toxicity.
Yeah, so. unless you're like I said, unless you're training for something, you're a professional level athlete. Leave the hours of beating yourself up in the gym for somebody else. Don't worry about that.
And you just mentioned something really important in the realm of detoxification, and that's the lymph system.
Absolutely.
So there's a few aids that you can use in detoxification, other than taking herbs and nutrition and diet. But you can do something called dry brushing.
Or skin brushing.
Skin brushing is also what it's known, and that stimulates the lymphatic system.
Right.
Another favorite of mine to stimulate the lymphatic system is using a rebounder for 2 minutes at a time.
Right. Jumping on your trampoline.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, it's fun. So I mean, it's like double. You get a little bit of fun and joy in there. You can say like positive affirmations while you're doing it, like I'm a beautiful, wonderful man, worthy of all good things. While you're,
I love that one.
I love that one. I give that to people all the time.
I'm a beautiful, wonderful man, worthy of
all good things.
That's perfect. I love it. Yes.
So now, I'm just going to tack onto that. So now, like if you're doing the rebounder and you're doing the lymph, and let's just say you use that little mantra.
The affirmation.
Now you're detoxing thoughts and emotions as well. So there's toxic physical issues, there's toxic mental and emotional ones as well. And sometimes we need to put a new program in. We need to detoxify the old toxic thoughts and emotions and replace them with healthy ones.
Yeah, and you don't realize with the negative talk that you have, with yourself, or the way that you perceive your situation, the way you perceive your environment, it has a lot to do with how your body will hold on to things. So if you can sort of release that mental and emotional stress from your life and sort of shift your perception, how do you perceive an environment? Someone might perceive your environment as an opportunity. You may perceive your environment as something negative. So if we can just shift the way we're talking to ourselves,
that's right.
We're actually going to free up a lot more than we would just, pushing the biochemistry.
That's right.
We got to push that emotional, mental, spiritual pathway as well.
And one of the beautiful things about when you start detoxifying and you're getting these physical toxins out of your system, these physical toxins could possibly and most likely be responsible for toxic thoughts and toxic emotions. Yep. So when we start to detoxify and we start to clean our system out, all of a sudden we start thinking more clearly. We start having more clear and balanced emotions, and we can begin to put a new program in there that is healthy and life-giving rather than toxic and negative. So the mental emotional component is every bit as important as the physical component, and they're married. They go hand in hand, because toxic thoughts and emotions create a toxic environment in our system.
Yes, absolutely. So I wanted to go back and just recapitulate a point that you had made. We talked about skin brushing just briefly.
Yes.
So if anyone is interested in taking a skin brushing class, I can teach you how to do that. So, we should do it probably broken up in groups of men and women, because we're going to ask that, we fully disrobe and we go through the skin brushing process. If you're a partner, if you have a partner that wants to join, then of course we can make that appointment happen. But let us know, comment or email or call and ask, hey, I'd like to learn how to do the skin brushing, and we can teach you how to do that. It's pretty simple. Once you understand it, you'll probably never forget it. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
So we have another comment. So in an hour on the treadmill, 7 to 5 days a week for RA is too much. Just walking usually 3 to 7 miles per hour. Yeah, I would say that walking is a little bit different than what I was thinking of in terms of exercise. A lot of people will go to the gym and just run for an hour and get that heart rate up and really sweat. That can be helpful if you're doing it in a manner that is supported to do, like I said, like a marathon or a triathlon, or you're doing some sporting event that's going to require to build up your tolerance for exercise, right? So build up your capacity or your endurance level. We're not really looking for that when it comes to detox. We're really looking for that perfusion of nitric oxide. And the first 3 minutes of exercise, you're going to release most of that into the bloodstream. So getting that pump, I would call it the pump, so the nitric oxide releases, you vasodilate, your skin becomes flushed, you start perfusing, or you start sweating a little bit. That's sort of the beginning stages, and then extending that for about 10 to 12 minutes just to get that cardiovascular workout in there, I think is going to be best for anybody that's doing just a general kind of health maintenance. So RA, spending that much time on the treadmill, it may be detrimental. I think it depends on the person, so you might want to just experiment with that a little bit. Exercising is going to increase your inflammation in the body, the good inflammation in your body, so you're going to start producing more antioxidants, something called superoxide dismutase and NRF2 and catalase. So it will actually build your resistance to autoimmune conditions. It'll build your resistance to inflammation. So I think it's worthy, and I think it's helpful, but there can be a point where it can get too much. So just sort of monitor yourself on that, and go easy. I would start, anybody that's looking to start an exercise program, just start easy, set small goals, give yourself 3 to 4 months just to kind of build up that, I talked about the max heart rate. Build up to that. Don't just go out and charge for it, because you may end up hurting yourself more than you're going to hurt than help yourself. Yeah. So
one last thing. I think we're probably getting close at this point. I think we're getting close. But there's only one last thing I would like to mention in regards to important things for detoxification, and this is a foundational element for health in general, and that is adequate sleep.
Yes.
Adequate sleep is so crucial for the detoxification process, because this is the time of regeneration. When we lay our body down, shut the senses down, go to sleep, our body regenerates. And one of the key things is that when we enter into a deep restful sleep or REM sleep, we have, there's a system in the brain called the glymphatic system. The glymphatic system. And this is like the person that comes into the brain with a vacuum cleaner and sucks up all the debris from thinking throughout the day. So protein debris from our daily activity. If that's not done, and that system is only engaged when we're in deep restful sleep. Once we wake up, that system shuts down. If it doesn't function adequately for the period of time that we need to clean up the debris, what begins to happen is you get this plaque buildup in the brain. It's called beta amyloid plaque, and they're starting to link that to conditions like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. So we really want to make sure that sleep is at a foundational element for detoxification as well.
That is optimal.
Yeah.
So getting good sleep, if you're experiencing a little insomnia, the best place to start with getting through your insomnia is having a clean sleep environment. So sleep hygiene is what it's often referred to.
Yes.
A cool, darkened room, free of anything that's causing stress. So if you have mail, unopened envelopes, bills, calculators.
Do not work in your bedroom.
Don't work in the bedroom. Just keep your bedroom as a sanctuary for you to be restful in.
And to enjoy your partner in.
And enjoy, exactly.
That's really the only two
There's
things.
a good way to detox.
That's
So also, if you have lights in your room, make sure that you've eliminated flashing lights or red lights or blue lights from your environment. There's a great exercise that I learned from, I think his name is Thomas Cowan. He's an anthroposophical practitioner in San Francisco, and he talks about, I think, an anthroposophical method of doing the day in review.
Yes, it's called a rukshao.
A rukshao. So that means to me that I'm lying in bed and I'm reviewing my day in reverse.
Yes.
So I'm trying to imagine every situation I was in, every conversation I was in, the environment that I was in. So I'm recreating my day in my mind in reverse and trying to get to the morning. Yeah. I typically don't make it.
Most people don't.
I don't make it.
I actually give that as a sleep remedy for people.
I think that's a great way to go.
Yeah, because not everybody needs to take something for sleep. Most people just can't shut this down.
Yeah.
So the rukshao, the play your day backwards, requires a new muscle that the brain doesn't have, and we usually get tired.
Right. Just take a minute. You can also try some diaphragmatic breathing. I oftentimes lie in bed and I'll put a hand on my chest and a hand on my belly. And this goes towards detoxification, but I want to breathe into my diaphragm. So if you guys can see me on screen, I want to breathe down into this thing. So this is my diaphragm, this is my belly. The physics of breathing is the diaphragm flexes and moves down and pulls air into the lungs. So I want to make sure that I'm not my chest isn't raising when I take a deep breath in. I want to take a deep breath in with my belly, and what I'm going to imagine in my mind, on the inhale, I'm going to imagine I'm at the beach, and that in the inhale, the wave is going out, and on the exhale, the wave is coming in and crashing on the beach. And so that's a great way to sort of practice getting into a rhythmic breathing pattern, as well as doing sort of like the rickshaw. You're imagining the beach, you're sort of picturing, you're putting yourself in that environment. And that leads me to something else, and we're going to wrap up the detox talk. But that leads me into talking a little bit about what Ron's going to be offering, I think, in May, possibly June. It's called Heart Math. And we're kicking around, and we might make it a requirement for all Siskiyou Vitamin Medicine members to take a class, but it's really going to be looking at heart rate variability and looking at how well you can handle stress and how well we can bring ourselves out of a sympathetic fight, flight, or freeze response into a rest and digest and regenerate response. So please stay tuned. We're going to be giving you more information once that comes around. All right, what else do we have that's going on?
Okay, so, all right, speaking of other things here at the clinic, so we have a class coming up starting next Wednesday, 1 week from today, March 7th, with Denali Grace. She does a intuitive painting class, and this is to empower women and men to source and discover their creativity. Highly recommend this. This is a really wonderful opportunity to get a little more in touch with yourself, and maybe and as well as healing, because art is like a therapy. It really helps with integrating and helping to heal trauma. So we have 2 classes starting next Wednesday. The first class is from 1 to 3 in the afternoon, for those of you who can make it in the afternoon. And then class 2 is from 5:30 to 7:30.
I think your time went off.
Hey, my God, that's my time. From 5:30 to 7:30, same day. So Wednesday, March 7th. This is a 3-month class. It only costs, I think, $95 for the entire 3 months. And it's 3 Wednesdays out of the month. All the supplies are included. This is do not miss out on this opportunity if you want to tap into your creativity.
And if you're afraid to paint or afraid to draw, forget it. Just leave that at the door and come in and experience something. You're going to surprise yourself, and I think that she's going to do a wonderful job, and I'm really excited that she's offering her class here. It's going to be great.
Totally stoked.
All right, guys.
All right, everybody.
That wraps it up. Wednesday Night Live. So I'm going to leave the evening with a little something. There we go.
Oh, wait.
Oh, it didn't work.
It didn't work this time.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.